You're listening to Lore Friendly with Kris Takahashi and special guest Ronja Monto.
Hello there.
How are you? How have you been since we last talked?
A little bit up and down. Or hold on. I'm sorry, I
that's
did
not
that totally wrong. In America, when people ask you how you are, you're not actually supposed to tell them how you are, right?
Oh, you're not? That's news
No?
to me.
Oh, okay. Maybe I misunderstood. No, because in Finland, if you ask somebody how they are gonna give you like a long story about how they're feeling.
Oh, it's not as perfunctory over there. People actually think that you're concerned for someone else's well-being.
Yes, exactly.
Whoa,
I'm
what
sorry,
did you
the
say?
dog is making noise.
Oh, okay.
Freya, come on! She's throwing her bone around.
So were you about to tell us a long story?
I was gonna tell you that I hate New Year's, and it's kind of bummed me out for a couple of weeks, but I'm getting there, so
Really?
getting better.
Also,
Yeah,
Unoctium is here, apparently. You can hear him.
Hello!
Alice is off this week. I think she's a little stressed because of all the work she's doing. She's doing some kind of paper or something. I don't know.
Oh dear.
I'm not really up to date, but I think she's explained it on the Discord.
Could be. I haven't gotten that notification if she has.
The only thing I saw was that there was a user, there was a listener. Don't want to call her a user. It sounds like a drug addict. There was a listener who actually requested a date with you, Ronja.
With me?
Yeah.
Oh my god! I don't know what to say.
That was pretty forward.
That's I mean, who? Just a random podcast listener?
Hey now, all our listeners are treasured people.
Of course, I'm sorry. I'm really flattered.
They're basically
really
kings
flattered.
and queens.
Yes, of course.
We're just puppets.
That's amazing. Sure, absolutely. I'll go on a date with this random listener. It's no problem at all.
Make it a Patreon goal. A high-end Patreon goal.
I'll just let them know that I'm a pretty expensive date because I eat a lot of food.
Yeah.
You know,
Me and Inoctium will be on the lower tier. If you don't have that much money to spend, you can go on a double date with us. If you have like tons of cash, then you and Ronja can spend a romantic or platonic evening together.
Aw, I'm actually blushing.
You've had that effect on people after only a handful of episodes.
Oh, come on.
To be fair, they've asked me out as well. They've just kept it to repetitive PMs.
Yeah. Slide it into those
Yeah.
DMs.
Really? Oh.
Wait, is the same guy has asked you out?
Yes,
Oh,
the same guy.
That's not good. That makes me wonder, what am I lacking that he hasn't put the moves on me yet?
Well, he's just preparing a new avenue for you, I think.
Oh, okay. I need to be wooed, okay?
How do
He's
you
like
woo?
Gabriel Lorca. He has a new and inventive way of seizing his love every time.
We'll get to that later because Ronja hasn't watched Star Trek, so we're going to save that for last.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Unless you want us to talk about Star Trek.
I don't mind, but I won't have anything to contribute, so I'll just make noises.
Oh, there's some major catfishing going on in the galaxy this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was bananas. I don't know if it entirely makes sense, but wow, that ending. But before we get to that, first big news of the week is the new YouTube policy. I don't know if it was in response to anything. I read somewhere it was in response to that Jake Paul controversy, but
Yeah.
they've changed their policy to where you can only monetize videos if you have 40,000 hours of viewed content, I believe, and 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
40,000 sounds a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. I think we barely passed that threshold. I think we were like 50,000 hours last year or something. I'm not entirely sure. I just remember checking. We barely passed the threshold. And 1,000 subscribers, we do have more, but there are people that we know who were affected by the new policy. C. Dante, I think, put out a tweet that he passes the hour threshold, but he doesn't have enough subscribers.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the controversy involved one of the biggest YouTubers on the entire site, and they make a policy that affects almost exclusively small YouTubers. So I really don't know what the logic is there, and I'm pretty upset about it, actually.
Are you? Because you're not
I
affected.
am
You
not.
have like
I am not.
8,000. 8,000 subscribers.
I know.
I'm jealous.
I know, I'm so spoiled. It's okay, I get like 2,000 views on my videos, so most of those
No, but
are-
that's a good ratio, though. That's a good
I actually
ratio.
don't know if I've been affected or not. I'm going to have a rude surprise right about now.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh dear.
But you know, the people who get affected are the people who have under 1,000, but they have like videos with high view counts. You know, they might be making more money than us, which isn't saying much. But because they don't have the subscriber count, that they're not be able to monetize their videos. I mean, like in all seriousness, like channels that are as small as ours, the money is inconsequential. Like who really cares, right? I mean, you're not going to be making money unless you have at least 1,000 subscribers anyway. But there are people who have viral videos and they have videos that do generate income. They're just not a channel that has a lot of subscribers for whatever reason. I think those are the people who get really affected.
To be honest, I mean, personally, it doesn't affect me because I wasn't really making any money from YouTube itself or AdSense to begin with.
Well, that's the thing. Like the requirements are so low that most people who can't monetize videos wouldn't be making money anyway. Like we're not making money, and we meet the requirements,
Yeah.
right? So most of the people aren't affected, but there are those people who meet one requirement but don't meet the other. You see what I
Yeah,
mean?
I see what you mean.
I'm not affected, so I'll be okay. I'll be okay, guys. Don't worry.
Yes, you're part of the elite class.
I'll get over this.
How many subscribers do you have? If
4,000
you don't
or
mind
something.
me asking.
Not
Nice.
bad.
You like blow my subscriber count out of the water. I've got like 1,500 on my personal channel, and then this channel has even
Oh, wow.
less. So yeah. So that's the thing. We meet the threshold, and we don't make any money. I can't speak for Unoctium, but we're like poor as hell. So I don't think the threshold is that worrisome so much as the fact that it's an either or thing. Like, you know, you should be able to meet either requirement, I
To be
think.
fair, you've got to think of the people that upload like pirated films. So like while their channel is not around for a very long time, the film
Oh,
might
that's
like
true.
accrue like 1 million views, and they won't make enough money off people. So
Yeah, so maybe that's the reason for it, that they're trying to target these like pop-up shops more or less.
I don't think so. I think this is a response to the controversies generated by PewDiePie and what's his face, Jake Paul.
It's weird that I know who this guy is, even though I've never seen any of his videos or know what he's about. He does kind of look like the kind of guy I would actively avoid on the street, though.
He's one of those, yeah.
well, there seems to be like a whole brand of celebrity that I completely missed and don't know who they are. So like.
But you kind of know of them. They're in your peripheral view, I think. If you just browse the internet, you would hear about this person, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know who Taylor Swift is. I don't listen to her music, but I know who Taylor Swift is. I know who Ed Sheeran
Yeah.
There's
is.
just like there's really famous YouTube celebrities in Britain that I'm just kind of that I don't know of, and I'm waiting for them to appear in Celebrity Big Brother, but I don't know who they are. So
Is Big Brother a good show?
No.
yeah, I quite like it.
Really?
See, now I don't know who to believe. I've started watching Survivor, by the way. I've been trying to get Alice to watch it for a while now, but I started watching in November, and then like I just spammed all not all 35 seasons, but I watched a bunch of seasons.
What to you
over the
makes a
past few
good
months.
reality TV show?
Well, for Survivor, it's the strategy and the social aspect of it, I think. That's what makes it interesting. And there's lots of twists and stuff like that. But if you add in a little bit of physical challenges to that as well, it adds a little bit of sport drama. So there's social drama, there's sport drama, there's strategic moves and stuff like that. And it kind of makes for an interesting show, I think. And they have good editing. If you edit a story, you can create characters and make a narrative that's compelling with just doing good editing. So like you can edit Ronja is like the sweetest person in the world. You can edit her into a villain if you wanted to. That's the power of reality TV.
Please do it. I'd like to see that, actually.
We'll take these podcast bits and we'll edit you into a master villain. You just got to say a few like key words here and there.
Okay, fair enough. Sounds great. I'm looking forward to it.
But yeah, no other thoughts on YouTube. Should we talk about Star Trek then?
I did have a point about YouTube that I kind of couldn't quite get in, so I'll just plop it in here at the end. I think the biggest problem is that with the demonetization of videos comes the fact that YouTube does not promote those videos. So it becomes increasingly difficult for anybody with a small subscriber base or view count to make it, so to speak, because YouTube will not, recommend your video.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of people with very small channels, and it kind of, it discourages them from even trying.
Were they promoting them previously?
I think this not promoting has been since the original Adpocalypse.
One thing that I also read is that they're trying to get more human reviewers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For their monetization policies, because right now they have that algorithm and nobody's happy with it.
Yeah,
right?
it sucks. It's doing a really bad job.
So I think that by limiting the amount of channels that are eligible, they're also trying to kind of like limit the manpower that's going to be required. I'm not sure.
I guess, but they're fucking over the people who make them the most money. That's
To be fair, there's like a bit of a moral panic going on. So like Google had this sort of fact checker service initially planned out like 2 weeks ago before they cancelled it today. So like there's policies being changed all over the place. So you don't know how long this is going to last.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a gray area, but there are things that are objective truth. So like if I wanted to type in like, the world is flat or something like that, if I wanted to give my flat earth takes, I mean, obviously Google should be able to say like these takes are wrong, they're not objective truths, they're not scientifically valid. I mean, so if I want to give my flat earth takes or my climate change denial takes, I mean, you should be able to weed those out. I mean, there's some things that are more in the gray area, but objective truths should be able to be weeded out.
But then there are these, for example, like super mega religious people who actually do believe the Earth is flat, and they will throw a big hissy fit if Google tells them that they're wrong.
They'll just say that these are unsourced, unverified. I don't know. Citation needed.
Yeah, like Wikipedia.
Do you believe the world is flat, Ronja?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay.
I personally do.
Well, I guess maybe I'm wrong. Majority rules, 2/1.
Also, it's snowing here right now, so there's no climate change. No, it's all false. It's totally false. Totally.
And Google won't dispute that now. So we're all good.
I think they stopped the Google fact checker when it said fanfiction.com might have some incorrect facts on it. So some of the stories here might not be true.
That would start a riot. As long as those Rumaran / fiction stay up and are taken as fact, then, I'll be okay.
I am morbidly curious about those. Really.
Archive of Our Own, I believe, is the site. It's hard to say that.
Yes,
Archive
of Our Own, yeah.
I'm gonna have to go check them out
A03.
afterwards.
Is it just Romarin?
I have no idea. I mean, it could be. Let's. Ronja voiced Alasia. Let me.
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
There's an author by that name, so this is probably unrelated. It's Harry Potter / fiction, actually.
Oh, fabulous.
And
No,
The
I don't
Hobbit
think
/
she's-
fiction.
I imagine that there will be a lot of Rumarin and some Zora. Although I guess women tend to be more inclined to write fan fiction, so probably the male characters are getting more attention.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I'm not even gonna look at this stuff. Anyways.
Would it make you uncomfortable?
No. It's just I would have started reading it, and then we would have never been able to get to where we needed to go.
True.
So, any other thoughts
On YouTube?
on YouTube? Yes.
No, not really. I'm just kind of watching from the sidelines, see where this goes.
How is your channel doing? I know you posted something the other day about the view count, I think.
Oh, the other day, like 2 months ago. Yeah.
The days all blur together for me.
It's okay. Yeah, I was just, because, it's not doing all that well. I mean, people keep telling me that the view ratio for my videos is good, but it's hard to see it like that when it's so small, such a small percent.
It's just where's my money? That's
No, see, I don't make any money from views at all.
I know you should be making money. That's what you should be saying.
It's fine.
Well, you could be getting a lot of views but not making any money because YouTube have demonetized you. So we posted a trailer for one of our mods and it got like 100,000 views in a couple of days. It was demonetized the second day. because I think there was a
Why?
shape of a gun in it, and it's fallen core. So
Okay, fair enough.
yeah. No, I mean that's what's happens with gameplay videos. If you have like any semblance of a gun, they demonetize your video. So
Or a ghoul. I think I have a couple ghoul videos that have been demonetized
that's
where
right.
it's just a ghoul talking, and you gotta protect the kids from those ghoul faces.
Yeah.
Probably why I don't show my face on this podcast, but
Aw, come on. You sound cute, so clearly you must be.
Yes, clearly I am one of the sexiest men alive. I don't know what people was thinking nominating that other guy, Blake. Blake, what's his
Who
face?
was it again?
I don't know. It was some
I can't
generic
remember.
dude. The point is, it wasn't me, and I should have won. I was robbed.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, so that's the thing about the YouTube channels is that you post something, but like I wouldn't know about it unless I hit the bell. I mean, that's why I know about it, because I hit the bell on your channel, but most
thank
people just
you.
subscribe, right? If they don't hit
Yeah.
the notification bell, they're not going to get a notification.
I've
of the
never
video.
really understood that. Why can't people just unsubscribe and then just narrow down their subscription options? You know.
I think it's better, though. I like having the ghost subscribers.
All right.
It's an artificial inflation of the ego.
It's like fake friends. It's like Facebook friends.
Yeah, yeah. Russian bots, just all of you subscribe to the channel. You're all welcome. No, because that's the thing. As long as you don't have the expectation that this many people are watching, then I think the subscriber thing is healthy because it'll help you, for instance, pass thresholds like the 1,000 subscriber threshold. Without all those bots, we wouldn't be monetizing this podcast. So, thank you, bots.
None of my subscribers are bots. They are all very important kings and queens.
Who occasionally ask you on dates.
Actually, this is the first time. I get some creep messages, but never, actual.
Romantic
Date.
overtures.
Yeah, that's really sweet. I'm really flattered.
Be nice to our awesome subscribers. and listeners.
I will. And I will go on a date with them also. So, just...
We're going to hold you to that. We're going to find out all the juicy details next week.
Okay.
Moving on to Star Trek, I guess.
Okay.
There's going to be spoilers, Ronja, if you...
I really don't mind.
Okay. Big spoilers, because, man, this was a crazy episode.
It was short. It was a short episode.
It was only 37 minutes. Like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, why is it only 30 minutes? Like, what's the big deal? But then, bam, should we just jump right into the major twist, or you want to talk about anything else first?
Well, let's jump into the major twist. The captain of the ship we've been following for 12 episodes turns out to be from a mirror universe where everyone is evil. And he's been
Yes.
evil this whole time.
The whole time. What the hell? Did they earn it, I guess, is my question. Was that twist earned?
Well, it's like finding out that your friend who does kind of questionable things, but otherwise you quite like him, but he's got a bit of a bad side to him, is actually fully bad,
Yeah.
and it's from another universe.
I think those parts were earned. I think the part where they set the seed more or less by having the light sensitivity, by having him be aggressive in all his decisions, and wanting to save Burnham, who he had a bond with in the mirror universe. The one part that I didn't buy is just frankly the romantic subplot. Lorca and Burnham have no romantic chemistry. They have zero. I mean, if there was a number less than zero, that would probably be more accurate.
Mhm.
Like, pick a number less than zero, Ronya.
0.2? No, hold on. That doesn't weigh.
No, that's higher than
That's
zero.
also higher than 0. That's right.
That's higher
I'm
than
sorry,
0.
I wasn't really listening.
Okay. -7. We'll go with that. -7. That's what I would put their romantic chemistry. There was no flirting. There was no... I don't know. There's just no attempt by him to kind of just imply that they had a romantic relationship.
If anything, it was a kind of anti-hero buddy partnership thing, at most.
Yeah. And I would see that with Stamets because he needs Stamets to get back home, more or less. He needs his, mycelium network powers, and so I would see how he would want to get close to him and get attached to him in that buddy sense. But with Burnham, he doesn't really need her other than in the romantic sense, or other than the fact that they have a bond, right? Like he doesn't need her to get back home.
Yeah, there's a bond, as in, they're both kind of outside the law, in a sense.
Yeah. But as far as just a utilitarian sense, he doesn't need her to get back, right? Oh, he does need her to get into the castle, the palace. That was the conceit.
Yeah.
But does he really?
To be honest, I think they made this up 2 episodes ago. Like they just picked a few lines from the series and went, "Oh, he's been it the whole time, hasn't he?" And you're like, "Yeah, I don't know."
And then they just added light sensitivity
Yeah.
because that is kind of a major like fragility in this super Terran race.
I mean, they're not aliens. They're meant to be humans. They're not meant to be like slightly different humans. You know, they're meant to be the same but evil.
Why are the alien rebels even fighting them with guns? They should just fight them with like candles and light bulbs.
Yeah, pretty much. Just turn up the light a little bit.
Why aren't the Terrans all wearing sunglasses as a defense tactic?
Yeah.
Interesting. It does explain the black clothes, though.
I suppose, yeah.
It's not just being evil. It's not just being evil. It absorbs light.
I don't know. I guess I quite like it. I guess the series isn't boring. As I say every week, it's not boring.
No. It was an amazing twist. It's somewhat debatable whether it was earned in some respects for me, but I don't want to take away from the twist. It was amazing. I did not see it coming. It was brilliant.
I kind of saw it coming, but I didn't think they would do it. Like, mainly because I basically watched it and like ever since he did Questionable Things, there's always been this kind of inkling that is he from another mirror universe? And turns out he is. So
it's crazy.
I think I would have preferred it if he was like just the captain who had slight negative attributes rather than, born evil.
Yeah, it does make him a little bit more one-dimensional. The plan is kind of harebrained too. He could have ended up in any other parallel universe. I guess he had help from Terran Stamets to kind of put that seed in Prime Stamets' brain.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of that whole scene?
Which scene was that? Sorry.
The Stamets interaction.
I quite liked it. Yeah. Again, I was expecting some moral argument. Like I did get. I did talk about last week where how the Terran Empire would have some knowledge of the Federation, and they would have advanced knowledge of the Federation, things that they didn't know. So they would have leverage over the Federation. You kind of had that this week, but not a lot of it, to be honest. Which,
yeah.
And I expected that more in the Stamets scene, but the Stamets scene was more. I don't know. There was less of a conflict going on.
Yeah, it was more focused on him getting closure with his boyfriend Hugh, or was it his husband? I forget if they're married or not.
Yeah, it's her husband.
But I thought that was a nice scene. That
Yeah.
just having them get together, having them have closure, because the way he died was just kind of cruel. And then for him to get that second chance, even though I don't know if Hugh was real, I mean, maybe he was just a figment of his imagination.
It was the network taking it on a persona form or something.
Yeah, to kind of give him that closure. I don't think it was actually Hugh. So because the network itself wants Stamets to help the network, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's dying, and that's another sort of subplot that's going on. We don't know why it's dying. It's just dying. What else happened this episode? We had the other big thing was Burnham and Giorgio. That whole interaction. Giorgio made her eat saru soup. That was wild.
Yeah, I mean, she just does. I mean, she's not going to do it.
That was a really uncomfortable scene. Like, these Terrans are just crazy. Just eating people. But their interaction was nice because I don't want to, nice is probably not the word. It was interesting because they have an even closer bond in this Terran universe, but in the same way that Burnham betrayed Prime Giorgio, Terran Burnham also committed a betrayal as well. So I guess the theme is that there are links between all these universes that sort of kind of bring them together into this like similar roles or stuff. So
I mean, outside the series, I wonder if this is a way for them to write out Jason Isaacs.
oh yeah, that's true. Is he costing just way too much? I mean, are they going over budget with his salary?
Well, he's a A-list actor or an A-B-list
Yeah,
or whatever you want to call it. He's like known, I guess, would be the thing. And so like it's always felt a little bit, wow, they afforded him, to be in the show. So I wonder if they got him because they promised a finite storyline, and he just quite liked the idea. And then next series it's going to go back to Burnham being the charismatic lead.
Yeah, because I don't know how they're making money, because I know that for me, every time I try to cancel my CBS All Access subscription, they give me another month free.
Really?
Yeah, it's been 4 months of free CBS for me so far. Like, I'll hit the cancel subscription button, and it's like, do you want another month free? And I'm like, sure. So, so that's how I've been watching all my Survivor and all my Star Trek, is just because they keep giving me free months. So I really don't know how they're making any money. Maybe off the commercials. Who knows?
Poor CBS just wants to be loved.
I know. They're just,
So sad.
yeah, they're like a sad puppy.
Well, maybe it's like a foreign thing where, like, because I watch it on my Netflix, right? So maybe.
Oh, so they have a deal with Netflix, probably. They're already making money. Yeah. One Jason Isaacs worth of.
I mean, like, the actual press is, obviously the press is a little bit different these days than it used to be, but there's still press for the show, so, I mean, maybe there's still interest in it, quote, quote. I mean, you can never get ratings for these things, so it's difficult.
I heard that they've had a ton of viewership, that they renewed the next season.
Oh, right, really? Oh, okay. Because I've heard a lot of people just say, I've cancelled my CBS subscription, so.
You just gotta undo the cancel and keep pressing it until you get the free month.
Oh, right, wow.
It's random too. Like, one time I pressed it and I didn't get the free month, so I'm like, oh, maybe I should cancel. But then I refreshed the page and hit cancel subscription again, and it said 1 month.
So it was basically going, fine, go, and then you said, okay, I'll go, and so don't go.
No, yeah, exactly.
Please stay. Have some Survivor.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe they think at some point I'm gonna forget. That is a good tactic. There are people who do forget and get charged. I am not one of those people.
It was like the gym, they're counting on you forgetting.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much most bills are like that. But when you're poor, you kind of have to keep track of your budget. So it's just like, yeah, I look at that. I know the date. February 23rd is the next time I have to cancel. So we'll see if I get another free month.
So I'm saying, like, if they want to rely on the charismatic charm of Michael Burnham, or they just get another A-list actor in, who wants to be in Star Trek for a year. Might be interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of romance and Michael Burnham, the fuck storyline.
Yeah, they pretty much killed him off, right? I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Mercifully, that storyline was going nowhere. That was another harebrained plan that made no sense. Putting him in a human body to infiltrate the Federation, and I mean, what became of that? What grand secrets did they learn? It's just
nothing. In fact, they probably learned more about the Klingons. So,
what was the point of that? It was just
the point of that was the writers just going, "Oh God, just kill it. This storyline's not going anywhere. Just kill him."
Let's give her the plot killing gloves and have her, like, massage his brainwaves until everybody forgets fuck ever existed. Just
hell?
massage it out of existence, out of your brain. It was just.
What was that Simpsons episode where they had that new character in Itchy and Scratchy?
Oh, well, it was like a dog, right?
Yeah.
Like Homer voiced. Yeah.
Was it Poochie or something? Poochie. And
Poochie, that was it, yeah.
Poochie died, and then it's like he had to leave to his home planet, and then they weren't satisfied, so they said he died on his way there.
Fuck died on his way out of Tyler's brain.
Yeah, fuck not only died peacefully, but he died in pain as well. He's gone
Just
forever.
describing it sounds ridiculous. I'm sure Ronja's like, what the fuck? I don't want to watch this show.
Yeah, it sounds really weird. It sounds, I don't know, the first thing I thought about when you said massage in the brain was some kind of really weird porn.
I mean, there is actual porn in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
It's kind of softcore though.
Okay. Yeah. You guys just enjoy your brain massage fetish. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a very weird way to kill off a character. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, do they actually... It sometimes feels like they're planning ahead, but sometimes I feel like every episode they're just sort of not,
Well, like with most shows, I'm sure they have the major through lines, the major plot points that they want to hit, and then everything else is just kind of winging it. How do we get there? How do we get from A to B? Like, we know, to use Game of Thrones as an example, we know, like, Daenerys and Jon are, going to hook up eventually. It's just, how do we get them together? All the stuff that happens in between, it hasn't been defined yet. And so it ended up being, like, 6 books or something? I don't know. But that was what he started with. He started with R plus L equals J. Was that it? He started with that.
There's a difference between George R. R. Martin planning that versus D&D planning Daenerys and Jon.
Yeah, sometimes you're on your journey from A to B and somebody else takes the wheel. Two people you don't barely know.
Two Hollywood douchebags just sort of say,
But they have a buttload of cash that they, just, hand to you and say, hey, let us drive. We're going to give you these stacks of cash. You just let us drive for a little bit. And then you end up like in Arizona somewhere, like high on meth.
jumping up and down on a trampoline.
Yeah.
Good analogy there.
Yeah. Where is George right now? You've met George, Ronja.
I have, yes.
Yes. Where do you think he is right now?
Where
What have
he
you
is.
gleaned from your 30 minutes with him that one day?
It was at least 2 hours, I'll have you
Oh,
know.
2 hours. My mistake.
Did you ask where he is or what he's doing?
What do you think he's doing other than writing Winds of Winter, which we know he is
He's
not?
probably doing a lot of, running around from different conventions. And I do think he's writing too, but, the creative process is slow. You gotta give him his time. The more you remind him to write, the less he's gonna write. That's how it
And
works.
there's not a lot of space on, because he doesn't have paper other than $100 bills. There's not a lot of space to write on those $100 bills. It's just only thin margins of white.
To be fair, he's probably extremely active. He's just he's been, because the PR for the series has just taken a huge dump in itself. He's been excised from the press, so that's what he's probably posting to his live journal every day, updating people Winds of Winter, but we just don't know because we're trying to follow the series.
A lot of his posts are not about the series. They're about the New York Jets or something.
Oh wow!
But he's a very normal guy. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, he's a man's man.
He's a man's man, yeah. Very nice, very, very jolly, giggly, happy. And I mean, think about it. He decided to come visit a bunch of crazy live-action reenactors on a small island in Finland. I mean, that says a lot about, a humble character.
No,
in my
he's
opinion.
living his best life. He's living the life right now.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't want to write another word, he's entitled to that life. Because it's his life, not ours.
Yeah, exactly.
But it would be nice if he wrote it.
It would be
just
great. And I'd like to say the same to Patrick Rothfuss, but he gets really mad whenever you ask him.
Yeah, because then I can die easy. I'm just waiting for that last book to come out, Dream of Spring to come out. Then I know I can rest easy.
Okay, so are you planning?
I could start eating ice cream for lunch.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Anyways, Star Trek. It was a great episode. How many more episodes are left this season?
2, I think.
2. How do you think this all ends?
Everyone dies.
Lorca dies is one thing that you said, right? That you're predicting. You've been pretty much have nailed these plot points with 90% accuracy. So
I really hate the idea of a siege episode. Next episode, I hate them. The sort of genre of a group of people being surrounded by another group of people. They're awful because when the sort of small group that's being sieged upon, none of them die, it becomes a pointless episode. Because that's kind of their score counter, right?
yeah, because they're wearing plot armor more or less.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's why those episodes tend to be terrible. But I hope if a few people die, then those kind of episodes work.
Yeah. Well, he's gonna have a bunch of just random dudes, random red shirts to do the siege with him, right?
Yeah.
That we don't care about. So, there's that.
You're gonna have Michelle Yeoh with the sword, so what more could you ask for?
But yeah, it's gonna be like those Vikings episodes. I don't know if you ever watch Vikings, but
No.
the people with the plot armor, they just never die. I just wonder, because there'll be mass armies of thousands of people, but the 5 or so people with plot armor, they just never die. So I always wonder why those 5 people just don't fight each other, because what's the point of everybody else being in the war when they all don't stand a chance. So
They must find a better way to do stories like that, just to find so you can develop a perfect formula of how you can kill off people, without thinking about contracts and things like that.
It's not really plot armor, because it's kind of historical armor, because they're historical characters in Vikings.
Yeah.
Just saying. Okay, go ahead.
Well, the thing is, they could be generals and stand in the back, right? They don't have to be out there rah and going on the front lines, taking on 12 guys and not dying. It's just And even when they do get hit, they don't die, they get knocked out. They're like the one guy who gets knocked out but not stabbed or anything.
Yeah, it's like a game, a computer game.
They're essential.
Yeah, they're essential.
Essential. They just get down and bleed out.
Yeah, exactly. They take a knee.
The worst one was Jon Snow, who was like under freezing water for about 2 hours or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
That whole season was a bit off.
They managed to like circle back and drag the dragon out with chains, but they didn't even bother to check and see if Jon was dead. That was just... I'm off Team Night King. We've been over this. I can't stand the guy and his just horrible decisions toward the end there.
To be fair, for Star Trek Discovery, I think they've got quite a good, people dying thing.
I think that's kind of a Game of Thrones influence, right? I mean, because they were like really the first show to just kill off characters one by one. Star Trek and other shows that are following it are having that same kind of cavalier attitude. The one thing they probably won't kill off, though, just like with Jon Snow, is their main character, and Michael Burnham's probably here to stay.
Well, so the problem is with Jason Isaacs, it's like we initially thought, oh, he's gonna be here for 5 years or something like that. If he gets killed at the end of the season and they bring in a new A-list person, which I feel like they have to keep the the kind of spectacle going, it feels like, oh, so he's gonna die at the end of the second season or something like that. So it's gonna be like the defense of the dark arts teacher in Harry Potter.
Maybe they'll bring back Dwight Schrute.
Probably, yeah.
He's an A-list celebrity. What's his name? Rainn Wilson. I
Yeah.
keep calling him Schrute. He has a name. It's Rainn Wilson. Him and Michael Scott. They'll just bring those two back. I think eventually we have 2 episodes. That's plenty of episodes to get back to the Prime universe. And then, I don't know. We'll see. I guess they're going to try and figure out what happened with the real Lorca, right? Or the Prime Lorca in next season. Who knows? Maybe they'll find a way to bring him back. Because this guy is expendable. Terran Lorca is expendable. I mean, Jason Isaacs could still come back even though this Lorca dies, theoretically.
I suppose, but it'll be a different Lorca, maybe, I guess.
Yeah.
Like Mad-Eye Moody? Maybe.
Oh, there you go.
But didn't you have an inkling that he might be imposter when he slept with the Admiral? She asked him questions, and he didn't know what she was talking about.
Yeah, like I said, I want to rewatch, even though I don't have time to rewatch, and try to watch it from that perspective, because I think that would be interesting. I do remember that scene being weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they hinted this before. Whenever he'd be asked to talk about his past, he would have to lie about it, right?
Well, he'd quickly change the subject, and you just think he was pushy.
Mm.
But you couldn't think possibly that he was some sort of, inter-universe
Yeah.
imposter.
So I do think it would be interesting on a rewatch, just to watch every scene that Lorca was in and see whether that was true, whether how much like he was deflecting, how much he would lie, and how much of that would come across on screen.
Mm-hmm. It's a shame though, because I did actually look up some of the fan stuff afterwards, and Lorca's by far the most popular character, by far, because people thought he was some sort of a guy with the edge, like a sort of good guy with the edge, not like a full on bad guy. And like Michael is like way in the back, like nobody cares, because
That's sad.
because she comes across like a Mary Sue, because she's like this character that everyone just loves, So the Empress is like, I loved you, Michael. You were the most perfect person ever, and I'm like, yeah, I guess.
I mean, she does have that sort of character type early on, especially, where everything she did was always right. It was flawless. Even when she did the wrong thing, betraying Giorgio, it turned out to be the right move, because Giorgio's tactic ended up getting her killed. So there are elements of that. Hopefully that as the show progresses, she is the main character, so hopefully they're going to add more dimensions to her. I am interested in seeing Lorca, the Prime Lorca, just to see the difference.
Well, it's like story writing, isn't it? Because they made Lorca. Obviously, it's easy to see how Lorca became more likable, because of all the Starfleet captains, he was the one who had the toolkit to sort of handle himself in both the war and this universe. Obviously, he spent most of his time in the universe in a torture chamber, but he still like most audience kind of identified him as the person who's like the center of good, as it were.
Right, and he was the ideal character to use this kind of new technology, because he was willing to bend the rules to get things done. He was a results guy, right?
Yeah.
So when they have this new controversial technology that could damage the people using it, like damage Stamets' mind, he was the right person to captain that ship because he kept things practical, he kept things focused, and you felt like it was sort of a moral dilemma for him. But now that we know that he was actually an evil person, then it's not a moral dilemma at all, right?
He just seemed insanely competent. Like he was the kind of guy. If there was a problem in the universe, right? There was this war that they didn't know who was going to win, and you thought he was the guy who would be the most able to win it. And also, couple that with the sort of secret backstory, it just created a sort of compelling package. Now, you just compare that to Michael, who had the sort of sad, wee backward storyline. And we talked about this at the beginning, right? We sort of said, oh, is this her flaw? Is that her flaw? Is that her flaw? And it turned out she had no flaws. And that she was she perfectly adapted to any situation she was in. So every bad situation she was put upon, she quickly learned how to get out of it. And suddenly that character becomes like no one cares, you know?
Yeah, even her execution, she was able to kind of deftly get out of it with one line.
Yeah, so it's like, prepare to kill her, and she's like, oh, wait, I have this one thing that you might be interested in. And then it's like, oh, let's not kill her then. Oh, let me just kill everyone else with a fidget spinner. So
that was funny.
Yeah.
Even though like 7 people died, it was still kind of funny. It's just fidget spinner.
So that's why I felt like the twist was, oh wait, he's not a compelling character, he's just a bad character. And you're like, okay, great, fantastic, you know. So.
Yeah, it might be true that a lot of the characters don't hold up upon closer examination. I don't know. Does Michael have any character flaws other than just being too confident and too smart?
Like I said at the beginning, like she might be like a human who hasn't developed her emotions. Like she's too, because she was raised by Vulcans. She was too logical, and she would deal with this crazy universe, and that would be interesting. But no, so she just like.
She seems human. I almost forget that she's Vulcan.
She's so competent that she recites Alice in Wonderland while escaping from some horrible monster.
Yeah.
So
I've completely forgotten the fact that she's Vulcan. If they didn't remind me every like 10 minutes or so, I would have forgotten completely.
Yeah, but still, I mean, the show like has really good acting. So you like but the jury's still out if the writing is still like lives up to that kind of, you know, engagingness.
Yeah,
I did watch like there was a sort of documentary on afterwards. They have this sort of like, you know how the Game of Thrones has a kind of spin-off show where they talk about it. I did kind of watch that thing afterwards, and like it was Jonathan Frakes who plays Riker in the Next Generation.
Yeah, he directed an episode, didn't he?
Yeah, he was talking to the guy who played Stamets, and he basically said like the difference in acting between the Next Generation and this show, like light years. Like in the Next Generation, people would just literally talk to each other, and like special effects scenes would all go wrong. But in Discovery, like everyone not only like they would plan all the special effects scenes, so like Stamets talking to his double, like so it would get like the perfect acting result. So.
Yeah, I really like Stamets. I like his character. I like the comic relief characters, even like Tilly, and I like Saru.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like multi-dimensional, and so I think there's some good characters to mind. That they should get rid of the ones that aren't going anywhere, like Falk and Tyler. I don't like. They could do without him. And Lorca was a compelling character, but he probably has to die. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, but like, yeah, the whole relationship between him and Burnham will be interesting. Less so, I guess, for the Prime Universe version because they don't have anything established. But then developing that might also be a different thread that we can go down. So I do think more vulnerability for Burnham is a good thing. We saw a little bit of that with her interactions with Giorgio. Hopefully we'll get some more of this kind of character sort of development as she interacts with the realization that Lorca is evil. But yeah, still, show is watchable. Mm-hmm. Interesting. So I'm looking forward to the last few episodes.
Cool.
All right. Anything else before we send off?
Didn't you want to talk about your voice acting interview thing, or is that?
Oh, that's right. We started a new voice actor interview show. So also look for that. We have some big names lined up. James McLaughlin. Who else? Who else was on my list? Lila Paz.
Yeah, I said the same thing you did.
And you, Ronja Monto.
Yay.
And who else? Natalie Pradlock, who voiced Audrey. And Potastic Panda, that's going to be the big one.
She's a very good voice actor. Very good.
She voiced for other mods mainly. She voiced Ellen the Cartographer, I think it was.
Yeah.
We could have Alice on. That would be weird.
Yeah.
Because we talk all the
Alice,
time.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
could do it yourself. You know, you did voice a character in 3D NPC for Fallout 3.
I did voice a character where I did a Wilhelm scream as well in Skyrim.
Yeah, so just 30 minutes of you talking to yourself. So how did you feel about this?
It's just like, ah! How was that for a Wilhelm scream?
That's adorable.
So was this?
It was probably more like, ah!
Were you voicing a mole rat?
I was voicing, yeah, it sounds like a mole rat. I was voicing someone who got blasted by a fireball, I believe. I wanted to see if because there was a script attached to the line, I wanted to see if the line was firing, and I found the line so funny that I just kept it in. But originally what the point was, I just wanted to see if the line was firing or not, or if the
Right.
fireball was messing up the line. Because you know how like voice lines can be interrupted by like, anything really
Yeah.
in a scene. So I wanted to make sure that the line was firing, and so I attached a scream to it, and it's still there. Anyways, that is it for this episode of Lore Friendly. Hope you enjoyed it. Next week, I don't know if Alice will be back, but we'll see.
Great, thanks.
See you guys
Thank-
next week.
Yeah, see you next
Thank
week.
you so much for listening.